You know that feeling, right? You catch a whiff of something, maybe it's freshly cut grass, or an old book, or a specific perfume, and boom, you are instantly transported back in time. One second, you're just walking down the street. The next, you're vividly reliving a memory from your childhood you hadn't even thought about in years. It honestly feels like magic, but what's really going on is some of the most fascinating neuroscience you can possibly imagine. So let's get in.
Probably the most famous example of this comes from the French author Marcel Proust. In his massive novel, Remembrance of Things Past, the narrator dips a little shell-shaped cake, a madeleine, into his tea. And that simple combination of taste and smell just unlocks this flood of memories from his childhood in a town called Cambrai. An entire world he thought was lost just comes rushing back to life. And because of that one scene, we now have a name for this whole experience, the Proustian effect.
But what is it about smell? Specifically, why is it such a powerful key to our past? I mean, think about it. Why does a scent seem to just bypass all our conscious thought and hit us with this wave of emotion and memory in a way that, seeing a photograph or hearing a name often just doesn't? That's the big mystery we're going to unravel today.
So, to figure this all out, we've got to follow the scent. And I mean that literally. We need to trace its journey from the air around us deep into the strange and wonderful wiring of our brains. Okay, so the official scientific name for our sense of smell is olfaction. And the most important thing to get here is that this sense is ancient. It's our most primitive system. Long before our ancestors evolved the complex sight and hearing we rely on today, they were navigating the world through smell, finding food, avoiding predators, sensing danger. And that deep evolutionary history, it's the key to everything.
So just try to picture this happening in a split second. When you smell something, these tiny little molecules of that substance are floating into your nose. And up there, they get captured by millions of specialized receptor cells, which then fire off an electrical signal. That signal then just zips along the olfactory nerve straight to what you could call the brain's smell headquarters, the olfactory bulb.
And this, right here, is where smell plays by a completely different set of rules than our other senses. See, things like sight, hearing, and touch, all that information gets routed through the central switchboard in the brain called the thalamus. It analyzes and filters everything. But smell? No way. Smell gets an express pass. It totally bypasses that switchboard and goes straight to the amygdala, our emotion center, and the hippocampus, which is absolutely critical for memory. It's a direct, raw, unfiltered connection.
Okay, so all this unique brain wiring, it really suggests that memories triggered by smell should be fundamentally different from other memories, right? But is that really true? Well, to find out, we have to look at the work of Dr. Johan Wilander at Stockholm University, who put this very idea to the test. The experiment they set up was so simple, but so clever. They had people recall memories, but they cued them in different ways. Some people got smells, others got words or pictures of the same exact things, and the differences they found were just stunning. The memories triggered by words and pictures, they tended to be more recent, more factual. But the memories triggered by odors were consistently older, way more emotional, and felt much, much more vivid. Now, there's this really cool thing in memory research called the reminiscence bump, and here's how it works. If you ask older adults to recall memories using words or pictures, the vast majority of those memories come from a very specific time in their lives, their late teens and early 20s. You see this big bump in the data right around that age, which makes sense. It's a time packed with firsts and figuring out who you are. But then they introduced smell as the cue, and the results were just incredible. That whole memory bump completely shifted. The peak age for the memories wasn't the teens anymore. It was early childhood, from birth to about 10 years old. All of a sudden, smells were unlocking a much, much earlier chapter of life, a chapter that our conscious minds really struggle to get back to. And it wasn't just about when the memories were from, it was about how they felt. Overwhelmingly, people rated the smell-triggered memories as being way more emotional. And that makes perfect sense, doesn't it? It goes right back to that express lane we talked about, leading straight to the brain's emotion centers. And here's the final finding, and for me, it's the most profound one. When people were cued by a scent, they didn't just remember things, they said they felt like they were reliving them. It was a genuine feeling of being transported, of being brought back in time. And that is what truly separates smell. It's not just recall, it is a full-body, completely immersive experience. So, smells dig up these old, super emotional memories that basically feel like time travel. That's incredibly cool for sure, but so what? What's the point of having this nostalgic superpower? Well, as it turns out, it matters a whole lot more than you might think. Yeah, this isn't just some quirky little feature of our brains.
A ton of research has shown that these nostalgic journeys, especially the ones triggered by scent, have real, tangible, positive psychological benefits. In short, they are good for us.
In fact, studies show that when you experience this kind of nostalgia, it can actually boost your mood, increase your self-esteem, and even make you more optimistic. It strengthens your sense of self-continuity, that feeling that you're the same person you've always been. It can even make us feel more connected to others and enhance our sense of meaning in life. So, these sensory flashbacks are actually a powerful tool for our own psychological resilience.
Okay, so now we have all the pieces of the puzzle. We have the unique biology, we have the powerful psychological data, and we have the real-world benefits. It's time to put it all together and finally solve the mystery we started with. So here it is. The incredible power of smell lies in its primitive, direct, and completely unfiltered connection to the parts of our brain that handle emotion and memory. Unlike sight and sound, which get analyzed and intellectualized to death, smell just slips in through a back door. It doesn't ask for permission, it simply triggers a feeling, and a memory comes rushing in right behind it. It's the language of our emotional, pre-verbal past. And here's one final, amazing little detail that just proves the point perfectly. We call it the Proustian effect because of that famous Madeleine cake, right? But get this, in an early draft of his novel, the trigger wasn't a fancy cake at all. It was a simple piece of toast with jam, a tartine. This shows us that the magic was never in the object itself. It was in the unexpected, unbidden sensation that suddenly unlocked the past.
That little fact proves that one person's simple piece of toast can hold just as much transformative power as someone else's fancy French cake. Which leaves us with a final question for you. What forgotten parts of your own story, what lost landscapes from your own past, are just waiting out there for the right scent to bring them all rushing back to life? Maybe pay a little more attention to the world around you. Your oldest sense just might have something incredible to tell you.